Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to this show. It's a trio today. Dave is having some problems, but he will be joining us from Luton. And Dave from Forest is here. And Connor from Everton is here. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about Premier League football, where we're at this coming weekend and where we've been previously. Might get your thoughts on Arsenal last night, because a lot of people are talking about that today. Let's start with that, actually, Connor. I don't know how much you watched of the game last night with Porto Arsenal, but be interested to get your thoughts, bro.
Honestly, I just caught the goal doing the rounds on Twitter, which I thought was a really, really good goal. I saw people saying it's like Champions League's back, because it was a very Champions League-esque goal. But that is all I saw, unfortunately, just the goal, which was really good. I've got to give it credit to Galanio, is it?
Yeah, Galeno. Yeah, do you think that Arsenal could have done better, or?
I mean, possibly. Porto are a good side. No disrespect to them, but you'd hope Arsenal pushed them a little bit further. I'm surprised by the clean sheet for Porto. I thought there'd be a couple of goals in it either way.
Yeah, man. I mean, you saw the goal. A lot of people were questioning David Raya, questioning Rice, questioning Martinelli. If I'm honest with you, Martinelli giving the ball away was ridiculous, if I'm honest, in that time of the game. But I think David Raya could have done better. I don't know about you, Dave. I don't know if you saw the goal, but I just personally thought that he was miles off his line. Rice has got to try and do better to get closer to him. And Martinelli's tried a pass, like a diagonal pass, which wasn't even going to put Saka through one-on-one. Just this 93rd minute, just keep the ball. I don't know what he was doing, man.
I have to apologise to everybody. I haven't seen any of it.
Oh, okay.
I was otherwise engaged, but all I would say is, from what I've gleaned, seeing various comments on social media, is Arsenal didn't do what they've been doing these past few weeks, where they've been actually really, really good. I mean, I saw them at our place about 3 weeks ago, and they outclassed us. For most of the game, they did. They were excellent. So it seems to me that they just won 6-0 away from home. They've won 5-0 away from home. They won 2 at our place. They've been on a really, really good run, and it's almost like Mikel Arteta fell into the trap of, look, everybody, I'm coaching, I'm managing, I'm going to make these changes, when really, you might have been best just leaving as if it's not broke. Don't go around trying to remedy it.
Totally agree.
You know what I mean? So I just think. Say apologies to all the viewers. I've not seen it, but I'm just kind of going on vibes I've picked up from social media, which are basically saying that Arsenal almost jettisoned what they've been doing in these past few games, where frankly they've been outstanding. Arsenal at West Ham, Burnley, at our place, they look proper title contenders, really. So. I do think that it might in the end not be a bad thing. It might be the kick up the jacksie that Arsenal need to just sort of make sure they don't slip into any kind of complacency. I think English clubs look at Portuguese clubs these days and think, we're all right there. But Portuguese football is quality. How many really good Portuguese players are in our league, making it a better league? There are some wonderful players in our league come from Portugal. It's a proper historical footballing nation. Benfica were winning European Cups long before our teams were, and they've been to World Cup semi-finals and things like that. So I think there's a little bit of I don't believe that Arsenal would have taken Porto lightly, but it seems to me that they tried something different for the sake of trying something different, and it blew up in their faces, really.
Yeah, that is what happened, man. We got punished. We tried to be clever and last-minute winner, and shocked us, stunned us, and unfortunately, we now got some work to do when we get on the second leg. Dave, Chloe in the chat said, Luton, Dave, I really like Luton. I'm a Palace fan, and you remind me of when we got promoted and everyone wrote us off and we played without fear. Big up, Chloe, and thank you for that comment. Dave, my phone was blown up last night. Luton 1-0 up. Luton 1-0 up, Dan. Luton 1-0 up. I was like, brilliant. It's going to be about 5-1 then. and it wasn't far off, mate. I didn't watch the game for obvious reasons. I was obviously watching us lose to Porto. I don't know how you played. All I do know is that Rob Edwards was loved by the Liverpool fans for being so honest in the press conference about how good Liverpool were in the second half. So I guess Liverpool were just too good for you last night, mate.
Well, all I could say was it was a nice trip to Anfield, a long trip home. And I'm glad if you're going to lose there, if we're going to lose at Anfield, then what we need to do is score first because it gives you that bit more of a meaningful goal. And, we get a goal after, 13 minutes or so. Well taken. We was on, was having our share of the game at that point. Ogbeni was in the right place, right time. And you're just thinking, oh, bugger, we've got all this time left to play. And I've got to be honest, I've been to Anfield a few times and, they get a lot of crap said about their atmosphere. But last night, when they got back in the game, it was electrically loud. It was probably the loudest stadium I've been to since the music at Dave's Stadium. I had to ask them to turn it down. But it was... it was just, look, we played Manchester United on Sunday and I was disappointed we didn't get anything from there because I felt we were on it. We gave them that stupid early goal. Then they get a second. People say it was a good goal. I don't know where it just hit him on the chest and he happened to be turning away and it goes in. And then I thought we were better than Manchester United at times and we had chances to win. Last night, we went 1-0 up. We had some extra chances, but it was relentless from Liverpool, relentless. And you can see the golfing class between them and us. And you could also see the golfing class between Manchester United and them. For me, that's how I felt. And so it was only a matter of time before they scored. They didn't get a goal in the first half, and we had a couple of chances. But second half, from minute one, it was just relentless. Every attack, you was thinking they're going to score. What I would say is that I think there's a poor defending, and I can't say too much because it's a big club we're playing there. Poor defending. We switched off for a throw-in 2 minutes after they equalised. We have a sliced clearance that falls to the feet of a striker that puts a great goal in. And then, you switch off again. But it was honestly relentless. And, I think we were lucky to get away with 4. But actually, overall, I'm quite proud of it. I'm quite proud of that because it could have been 5 or 6. The goalkeeper was on form. And it was let's say it's not as pleasant as the last 2 times I've been up to Merseyside this season already. Sorry, Connor. But yeah, look, let's look at the golfing clubs. And Rob Edwards summed it up. He said, look, it was Liverpool. It wasn't somebody that, they play Champions League football. They're top of the league. Surely you've got to look at your side and go, once in your life, you've got to go, actually, God, the best team were there on the day. They played some terrific football. They were super quick. I don't know. Our players were knackered in the second half. I just don't know what to say about it. And, it disappointing. Yeah, of course it is. But did we expect to go to Anfield and win? Not really. We expected to go there and try to do something. And when you're 1-0 up that early, a 5-liver on the radio to me going, if you keep this result, can you come on? I went, yeah, but there's no chance of that, mate. Because you could see it coming. You could see it coming. But proud of the performance, proud of not stopping. And we played some decent football in times. We had some chances in the second half, but it was a bit one way in the second half for a while. And they took their chances, and it was devastating. 2 in 2 minutes, and then the noise at Anfield for once, the first time I've ever been there, and I thought, God, this is loud, and louder than it's ever been when I've been there in the past. And I just think that spurred them on, and maybe even frightened some of our players. I don't know, but it was a difficult one to watch.
Yeah, listen, I've been to Anfield and I've held 4s and 5s myself as a gooner, and it's horrible. Trust me, it's not a nice place. They make it horrible for you. But I must say, I didn't think you'd beat Man United or Liverpool, and you didn't. So I don't look at Luton and go, oh my God, what are they doing? So let's just be realistic about it. Man United and Liverpool should have beaten Luton, and they did.
Casemiro should have been sent off.
Oh, absolutely.
Casemiro should have gone.
100%, yeah.
100%. We mentioned this on our pod, really. The second challenge he did literally after his first booking was literally a minute or 2 after the first challenge. And the referee goes to his pocket to lift out the card, looks over, sees who it is, and he puts his hand back. He puts it back in his pocket. So, at times, would that have made a difference? I don't know. Maybe, maybe. But,
I think it would.
But, I think we were unlucky against Manchester United. I just don't think we had much luck against Liverpool at all. But that's because Liverpool was so much better than us. So much better than us. But Manchester United, you say you didn't expect us to win, but I was more confident we could get something out of that game than we could at Anfield.
100%. 100%. And I watched the game I didn't watch the whole game, actually. I watched the second half. And I know that Bruno went through and Lokonga did a brilliant tackle. And I know that Garnacho should have scored. I don't quite know how he didn't really. He kept on to the ball for far too long. But Luton had your chances as well. And I thought that it was actually a good performance, really. I think they could you could walk away from that thinking fair play. And you had right till the last minute, you were still going for it. I think it was Ross Barkley who put the header over right at the end.
They hit the bar, yeah.
They hit the bar, sorry. Yeah, so I think you're absolutely bang on. I think against Man United, you had a chance. Liverpool, they can do that against teams. And I think Rob Edwards said it in the press conference that they can do that against much better teams than Luton, and they have done, So Luton don't need to feel hard done by whatsoever. I mean, I'm going to put this comment into both to both Connor and to Dave because I don't actually know the answer to it. Where are we? It was from Chloe, I think. Here we go. This could massively affect Luton, which is why I'm bringing it up now. So Chloe's asked, when will Everton and Forest hear from the appeals? Because let's be honest, and I don't think Dave will mind me saying this, I think Luton might go down. I hope they don't. I've said this to Dave many, many times. I hope they don't, but I think that they might. But this could change massively. I mean, if Everton and Forest get any more, I mean, if Everton's case more points dropped and Forest get any points dropped, I mean, all three of you would be like flip of a coin for me. I really wouldn't want to call it, if I'm honest. So, does anyone know what's going on with this, Connor?
Well, I mean, firstly, I think it's being misconstrued. So we are appealing the first punishment. So we're waiting to hear back for the appeal. But then after that, obviously, ourselves and Forest then have a second charge. We have a second charge. Forest have their first. Until we hear from the Everton appeal, I've heard that the Premier League won't discuss the other punishments until this one is sorted. It was meant to be Monday or Tuesday for Everton to find out if we'll have points back. And it matters massively for us because our defence for the first, it's the same reason we failed the second. So we'll use the same defence to carry through and hopefully make that null and void for the second. So if we fail completely, then we're almost definitely going to get the second easily, and I think we'll be done. If we win it and we get points, I think we're going to get points back, but I think we're going to get points taken away the second time, just not the 10. So it'll be like, say now we get 4 back, and then I think we'll lose 6. So I still think we'll be in a negative, but I think we'll have points back. But until we hear about our appeal and if we've won it or not, I don't think Forest will hear what their punishment is for the breach, and we won't hear what our second punishment is for the breach, which is irritating because it's holding not just from Everton, because it's dead, focused for me to say it about us, but it affects Forest. Forest need to know what their punishment is, so this appeal needs to be sorted quickly so the second lot can be sorted. And then obviously Luton ideally would like to know, because it massively plays in there, if we get points deducted again and they're another 10, I think that's us done. And maybe Luton can not take the foot off the gas, but can relax a bit more. And Forest would be able to, well, I think Forest would be where we are now. So Forest wouldn't be able to relax a little bit more, but, Luton would. And then it gives Sheffield United maybe an outsider's chance. But it is a mess that should have been sorted this week, according to the Premier League.
Yeah, massively. Dave, I don't know if you've heard anything Forest said.
Not a great deal, chaps. My understanding is it was going to be done in like April or something like that. As Connor says, it the fact that it's sort of going on and on and on gives none of the. I mean, it doesn't really reflect well on the Premier League. It needs to be sorted. I personally am expecting us to get some docked because I always look on the bleak side. I'd rather look on the bleak side and be pleasantly surprised. Pessimism is great. Yeah, really. Pessimism is wonderful. I can't. Optimistically pessimistic. Get out there and be pessimistic. So I'm as far as I'm concerned, we've already lost 6. That's my baseline. So if we get 6 taken off, well, okay, that's what I expected. If not, then pleasantly surprised. But I've heard very little. It has gone quite quiet. around the city ground and in the social media and the podcasts and things. I do know we've appointed a KC. I think his name's Nick DeMarco. So Forest are obviously making preparations. I'm sure, some kind of appeal process is being put together. But as regards to timescales, I don't know. And unfortunately, it takes away from looking at the table, because you look at it and you think, oh, what's the point of looking? Because it's going to change at some point down the line. And I think I think for the bottom 7, because I think it is a bottom 7 now, it has an effect on all of them, really. That 2 of those bottom 7 are in this position. But yeah, I think we'll lose points.
If they've got any sense, Dave, if they've got any sense, they do what we've done as a club, and they're ignoring the points deduction. So we've got a different table up in the dressing room and the training areas that doesn't include the Everton points deduction right now.
Right.
Just in case they get their points back. And they can't take into account anything for you guys. So they're looking at the table in a different way. And why are we surprised? Why are we surprised at all that they're taking so long? Because there's precedents been set many, many times. And I can go back to our 30 points deduction where we weren't even allowed to appeal. We appealed, they wouldn't let us play in the league. So they're a rule to themselves. And it wouldn't surprise me if they left it to the very end of the season and just worked out. I'm going to say this in favour of Connor for a change, because I know I've been having to do because we've won up there. I've done it again. I'm going to say it in favour of you, Connor. I'm going to say it in favour of you.
It's called the Gregory grind, Connor. He gets that, it's the gradual Gregory grind.
I'll tell you what, if they come to our place and win, you can have a go at me too. I don't mind. But it wouldn't surprise me if they got to the end of the season and went, right, we'll deduct this amount, and that will make sure that Everton don't go down, and it will send the others down. It wouldn't surprise me one jot that they do that. Because if you're going to appeal, that appeal's got to be done before the end of the season. And if it's not done, they can't retrospectively then go, oh, that's right, so we're going to keep you up and send you down. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're just looking at the table thinking, well, can we afford to lose Everton from the Premier League? that sort of thing.
Well, I think they've didn't they say they've got a meeting with like us, Villa, a couple of the teams to discuss the rules. I think they're terrified. I think the reason it's not coming out as well is they're trying to get their house in order and desperately scramble because they don't want an independent regulator coming in. They want to prove they can regulate themselves, and they are so scared now that there's press after ours, because the points deduction we got was more than if we'd been administrated, which is crazy to think. We might as well have just gone into administration and took the 9. So I think they're a little bit terrified about how they're going to look, and I think now they're trying to damage control. So I wouldn't be surprised if they I'm thinking we're getting none back, because I'm like Dave. If you think you're getting nothing and you get something, you'll be happy. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they start going a little bit the other way and going, oh, sugar, oh, we'll give you this, this, and this. Just don't bring in a regulator. Let's not get this, sorted. So, it's just, I think if anything, it's shown how much of a mess the Premier League is and how much of a mess it's being run.
Shocking.
Is it
cynical that we're all talking about, these points drop, these points? It's not fun. It's not like, that'd be interesting when Everton drop points. And what about Forest? Be good to see them drop some points. Have a right good luck. No one's doing that. They're all like, what the hell's actually going on here? Can we just sort this out and play football? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Well, all the time, the sky blue elephant sits in the room.
100%, mate.
Well, Connor's got 2. I've got 1. 115 over here.
I haven't done anything wrong, apparently.
No, not at all.
I haven't done anything wrong. 115. All of them are wrong.
Love them as a football team on the field. I love watching City. I like watching Arsenal. I like watching any football. But the stuff off the pitch, I'm not keen on that.
No,
it's
ridiculous.
The thing is, that 115. I mean, it's unconscionable to think that nothing will be done about it. And we've said it on here before, Dan. And we're Everton, Luton, and Nottingham Forest, and you're Arsenal. And you do feel there's like this perceived leaning towards certain organisations and against others.
No, it does sound like that. It does sound like that. And
Yeah.
it's like, if it's true about Chelsea as well, admitting
Yeah.
they're doing wrong, what's happening with them then? Because, like,
Yeah.
you look at it and you think, Everton have done wrong. Have they right? We better dock them 10 points then, right? Chelsea have said they have as well. Oh, bugger. What are we going to do about them then? Oh, we better not dock
And I
them
did-
10 points. Like, what?
Yeah.
Just get rid of the 10 points from them as well then. They're a bloody mid-table side at the moment anyway. They're finished.
Yeah.
Go get rid of them. Dock them 10 points then.
It depends
Yeah.
what they've done as well. Like if, like for us, the stadium's costs has gone into it as well, which is annoying because it's an off the field project to expand. If it was if it was purely transfers and it was an on field, we bought some of the best players in the world and we cheated relegation for the last 2 years, I'd be the first to go, we deserve the points deduction. We've cheated to avoid it, but look at the squads we've had the last 2 years where we've narrowly survived with subpar managers as well. I know Burnley feel like they were hard done by, but realistically, we had Frank Lampard as our manager and Benitez that season. You weren't hard done by. You were just worse. But like, if we had cheated, I'd go fair play. But like, no one looks at this Everton squad over the last 3 years and goes, "Oh God, what a team of world beaters." They've been crap. And they've been crap. And the only time we looked good was this season under a proper manager, and we've had the points knock us straight back down into it for a stadium cost because we want to grow and we want to be ambitious with the rest of the league. It's just a bit, demoralising. Someone said then in the comments, "Do you think we'll stay up?" I don't know. For the first time in 3 years, I don't know, because it's not up to me, is it? It's up to the points deductions. It's the same.
I don't know either, Connor. I don't know either, mate. I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, with us. From what the bits, I'm not like close to the club, so I don't know, and I'm just surmising from a spectator's distance. But it seems like we did the right thing in making sure we got good money for Brennan Johnson. We rejected bids from Brentford that were at, I think, 18 or 23, whatever, thinking that's not enough. When Ange went to Tottenham, he said, "I want that kid." And Forrest said, "All right, if you want him, pay the money." So we got the right amount of money in, but we took too long in doing it.
Weren't you like a week over that or something? It was really
something like that, Connor. And the thing is, the Premier League, I think this is right. And if anybody in the comments wants to correct me, I'm happy to be corrected. Are going to change the timescale rules again. So Mr. DeMarco will go into court and say, "But this is a moving feast, surely, my lord," or something like that. You know what I mean? So I just think, as we've all four of us on this show in the last few minutes have all alluded to, there's no real cast iron set of rules, that says that's it. It's like this sort of the rule change here, some kind of different inflection over there. It's just they're not coming at it on a steady footing, it seems to me. But what will be, will be.
Yeah, man. What will be indeed. This is coming from Dan. Question for the Daves. How are the Arsenal boys, Tavares and Lokonga, getting on at your respective clubs? Dave, I'll ask you first as in Luton, Dave, because I think I texted you actually about Lokonga because he's been impressing apparently. He certainly wasn't at Arsenal, let me tell you that. And Palace didn't like him either because they let us have him back and said, "No, please, not again." So at Luton, though, he's doing all right apparently.
Well, he's obviously got better coaches at our places,
exactly.
because he's doing, honestly, if you can care to go on Luton Town's official social feed today, you'll see an episode where 2 Liverpool players, I can't remember who they were charging him down. He lost control and he picked it up, he spun him around and went away and played a brilliant pass. But he got himself injured last night, which is a pain in the backside. So he went off at half time, and I think that was half of our problem, because he's been sensational for us when he's been fit. He had a hamstring problem at the beginning of the season, but when he came in, he's been sensational. He's really shored us up, and you shouldn't ever fall in love with a lone player because they're never yours. And he's also talking that he still thinks he's got a chance to get back in the Arsenal squad. But I'm telling you, for us, he's been phenomenal. And we'd have him at a drop of a hat, absolute drop of a hat. So yeah, he's doing really well. And I think if you watch back some of the games, you'll see how well he's done. Last minute tackles, really good at distribution, a really good player, really, and a really nice guy as well. So yeah, I think you'd be surprised.
He came on the scene at Arsenal, and I thought interesting talent. Don't know much about him. was considered a Yaya Toure figure from Vincent Kompany. So we all got excited, as everyone would, when that name comes in the same bracket
Yeah.
as him. And I thought, it ain't Yaya Toure what I'm looking at all. I mean, it was really poor at some stage. He looked weak. He was pushed off the ball. He just weren't good enough. And the atmosphere and the kind of stepping up to the plate just ate him up alive. And, he's 23, I think, when he came to Arsenal. I think he's about 25 or so now. And he needed first team football and he wasn't getting it at Arsenal. So he went to Palace. Palace, they had problems at the time and Palace still have got problems now, let's be real. And when he went to Luton, I thought, be interesting. And then he weren't getting in the team. Now, I know he is now, but when he wasn't getting in the team to start with, I don't think. And I was thinking, how the hell? Not any disrespect. If he can't get in the Luton Town's first team, he ain't ever going to get in the Arsenal first team. So let's just be real. And then he's starting to play well now. And then everyone's saying to me, what do you reckon? Do you give him another chance? Now, I wouldn't personally give him another chance at Arsenal because I think he's found his feet in a team where he can actually play some good, decent football. And I think that if he could make that deal permanent, if he wanted to, if Luton would stay up, then I think Arsenal would probably accommodate it. Whether or not the Congo would want to move there full time, I don't know where his head's at. But I wanted to know like what sort of performances he's been putting in. And he last ditch tackle from Bruno was sensational at the weekend. I must say, absolutely brilliant, like defending. He really was.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. He didn't start because he was injured, though, Dan. That's the point. He came to us and he was injured, but for the moment he got back in the team, or when he got in the team, you could see he was a good player for us. And you're right. Look, it's almost like the Ross Barkley effect, isn't it? You get one of those players that are, I don't want to say better than what we've got, but they stood out. Ross Barkley's done it before. Lukonga, for me, has been so valuable for us. And I'm not knocking our players because we're on a shoestring compared to everybody else. But it is noticeable that when he's playing, we're doing better. So I think if we could afford him, if we stayed up, it's a big if, isn't it? If we managed to stay up, would we be prepared to spend the amount of money Arsenal might want? I don't know. But if we don't, someone else will, because he's been perfect for us. Perfect for us. And you're right. He's a big fish in a small team almost, isn't he? And the same with Mengi as well. I mean, if he stays with us, and Man United give him away, basically. Those players, Barkley, him and Mengi, have stood out as really good transfers for us this season. And Lukonga, if he stays, I'll be delighted. Absolutely.
I think if you wanted him, it wouldn't cost you more than 10 million. It's not like you're going to have to pay 20, 30 million for this lad.
Right.
I know that you haven't got 10 million. I get it, but
we would have if we stayed up, but we don't spend it, do we? We just don't spend it. I think maybe we would be sort of, thinking we've got another year in the Premier League. We have all those parachute payments for the following season. Maybe we would spend it. We've got a new stadium being built, and we don't want to fall in the same trap as everybody else. So I would imagine they probably wouldn't spend as much. But it just depends, doesn't it? Just depends.
Yeah, it does, mate. You dealing with Edu? You'll probably have him on loan for another year. No, Edu.
I'll take him on loan for another year because he's been.
Yeah, I bet you would.
He's been superb for us.
Fair play, man. Dave, what about Nuntavage? A player that knows Nottingham Forest very well, who got subbed in the first half, famously 2 years ago.
He did.
I don't know how much you, if I'm honest. But how's he looking for you guys?
Well, the thing is, Dan, you took words out of my mouth, mate. So if you're rummaging in my filthy mouth, mate, you're a brave lad. Let me put it like that, right? To delve into that, abyss of nastiness and horribleness. Actually, when he signed, the first thought that everybody at our place had was that awful cameo in that cup match when we beat Arsenal 1-0 when we were a championship side, and Nuno being hooked by Arteta because Brennan just ran him ragged, I think. And he turned up and he played bits and bobs here and there. But I think he's benefited from the fact that Forest's manager now speaks really good Portuguese. I think that, and is a Portuguese guy, so that helps him. He's obviously been given the gig quite a lot during AFCON because Ola Aina, who I think was our first choice left back, has gone on and done really good things with Nigeria. They got to the final. And he's a big lad, Nuno, right? And he'll have a wild shot here and there. He'll take shot. My view is if you don't have a shot, you don't score. And I quite like him going forward. I think he's an impressive specimen.
Defensively, though, he's poor,
but
mate.
defensively, I think what will happen is, my guess is that he'll start at Villa because he has done quite well. I wouldn't say he's been brilliant, but he's been, respectable in what he's done. I thought he played well against West Ham. I thought that was his best game for us. But all our lads played well that day. And I think what will happen is that Aina will be the main
West
man.
Ham, Dave, as well. West Ham are shoddy, mate.
I've not heard of them. Are they in our league? I mean, to be honest, I couldn't remember who we played on Saturday. I mean, I'm sure they've been discussed at length elsewhere. I'm not going to go there. I know Dee will tell you everything you need to know about West Ham. So, yeah, I really enjoyed watching Nuno at the weekend. Yeah, he's up in the Midlands. We had this sort of phrase, he's a muck of nettles, where it's a bit good one minute, not so good the other. But I think he's a big, strong lad. Attacking, fine. Going the other way, bit debatable. So I think Ola will get his place back, but I don't think he'll get it back. Sorry, I think our disgruntled PE teacher, because that's what Nuno Espirito Santo looks like to me. It's a sort of bloke like you won't forget your kit for games with him. He stands on the touchline. He's quite an imposing figure. I think he'll say to Ola, look, Nuno's been doing all right. He's got the shirt. If Nuno doesn't do it and you come in and take your place, and that's what we want, competition place. I mean, Ibrahim Sangari's come back with Willy Bolly from the Ivory Coast. They come back to a hero's welcome from our lads this week, which was lovely to see. I think with our weakness at set pieces, Willie will come back in. Sangari, we're still waiting to see the best of Sangari, but he's a good lad.
There's a player there, Dave. Trust me.
There is a player there, Dan. But yeah, Nuno, it's kind of not.
This is the thing for me. I think Forest will stay up for this reason. Your front four, when they're all fit, will score goals. Ilanga, Hudson-Odoi, Awoniyi, and Morgan Gibbs-White. Like, let's be real. If you compare that front four to the others around you, that's some serious potential there, creativity-wise, goal-scoring-wise. That's got to stay up, mate. That's got to be a positive to keep you up. Do
you know, Dan? It occurred to me as I came out the City Ground on Saturday, and remember, no disrespect to anybody else, but of the bottom seven, we've had the best week. We're the only one of the bottom seven that's won these past few days.
Yeah.
I mean, Burnley got a bit of a lesson off yourselves. Sheffield United are kind of confirming what we all felt at the time. If they're selling Sander Berge and Iliman Ndiaye, are they going to be ready for the Premier League? I don't think they are. They might surprise me. I don't know. Wilder seems more interested in, Wilder. I thought Wilder made a fool of himself by not showing a lighter side to life about getting upset over a sandwich. Dear, is that how pathetic and petulant you are? Goodness me, that was a man desperate for a cause, and he saw a sandwich. I mean, whether it was, what is it, Roy Keane with prawns? What was it, ham and pickle? I don't know. Wilder really. If that had been me and the referee had been having a sandwich, I'd have said, "Can I have a bit of your sandwich, mate?" and just taken the joke. But Wilder proved he was very po-faced, right? But I walked out and I thought, Luton have got two really, really tough games. One sort of tough game, one almost impossible game, because it's Klopp's leaving do, and I think that's what's going to take them to the title, right? And so Luton have had a tough time. Everton and Palace the other night, thought a draw was a fair result. Brentford have just lost twice in a week, and our front four, I just kind of, I'm not one, I'm not one for coming up. I love Nottingham Forest, so everything about my club's brilliant, and you've all got to bow down. I don't do that. But I looked at our front four. Taiwo's back. I mean, a lovely goal he scored at the weekend. Callum.
I think he's quality, man. That Awoniyi.
Yeah, he's a good. Yeah, and they're nice lads. I know we all say it about our own clubs, but I've met some of these lads, and the people on the field. We might have an owner who's a tyrant and in love with himself. I'm not greatly sold on our owner, but the lads who don those shirts and do the proper work for our club, I have no problem with them. They're good guys, all of them, right? Decent, humble human beings. And but those Callum Hudson-Odoi, to me, I mean, there's a lad who's on a rescue mission with his career, and Callum might yet be one of the bargain buys of the season. He's been terrific these last 2 or 3 games. Even in games we've lost, he looks to get the ball and he looks to take his man on. And we everybody around me in the trend thing is, go on, Callum, take him on, son. And we're right behind him. And Anthony as well has come, my first thought at the start of the season about those two was that they're kind of cast-offs from these other clubs. Are they going to be any good for us? And the pair of them, they've got a way to go yet, but they are rediscovering what made them so good in the first. I mean, Callum Hudson-Odoi could have gone to a German club, Bayern Munich or something, for 70, 80 million back in the day. We've picked him up for 3. And for all the scattergun approach about, transfer dealings and the fact that there hasn't been a lot of logic and method to it, in amongst all that, Callum Hudson-Odoi might prove a gem. Anthony Elanga might prove a gem. Taiwo is probably, if Taiwo goes from Forest and somebody's going to buy him, that's money in the bank for us. We won't have any FFP problems there. And Morgan, Steve Cooper's last great piece of genius was to make Morgan captain. Because ever since he's turned up at our club, Morgan Gibbs-White, and I'm repeating myself, has been obsessed with the fee that was paid for him. And his first thought is, I must pay them back. They paid this money for me to be the X Factor guy. Sometimes Morgan tries too hard. He tries to do everything for everybody. But I just see an unselfish kid who runs his nuts off for my club. And the 4 of them, they're, like you say, I think there's goals in them. I tell you who I really like who's in this side as well. And he doesn't get much limelight, but I'm going to give him some. Is our little Argentinian terrier Dominguez. He set up Taiwo's goal at the weekend with a beautiful ball, a left foot ball into a crowded area, which Taiwo controlled and stuck away. And that lad runs his nuts off. So he's a bit old-fashioned, socks down little terrier, and he makes tackle after tackle after tackle. And I think he's been super. So, obviously the points deduction is still there, and it's still a real possibility. I think we'd be foolish not, to kind of, it'll be nothing. No, it won't be nothing. It will be something. But as regards the actual play and the kicking of the football and the moving it around the field by head, knee, chest, foot, whatever, there's a bit to like about Forest, but we're not out of the mire yet.
No, I mean, absolutely not. Not out of it yet. And so hard to think who is going to go down. I know I'd like to go down. I'd like D to just be absolutely humbled. I mean, he was sitting there last night sucking up to Deji on the channel, who is one of the most deluded Spurs fans you'll ever know, going, oh, yes, Deji. Yes. I totally agree, Deji. I absolutely agree. And I'm thinking, what the hell are you on about, mate? He's trying to tell me that Spurs' first 11 is as good as Man City's. And D's going, yeah, I totally agree with that. Absolutely. Get Palace down then now. This is honestly, man, what is going on there?
But they're safe. They're safe. They've got Glasner now, so they're safe. So that's all. I tell you what, on a broader issue of life, you wait till your manager's in a hospital bed?
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, Roy Hodgson is a proper good footballing man, a decent 100%. Man, a lovely man. And he's poorly. And like Parrish and Brighty are sitting there with Glasner, and it's like, hang on a minute. Where was the minute's applause for their manager in his bed who's like not very well? I mean, it's just, I was a bit, and you know what? It goes back to this feeling that if you inhabit the moral high ground, I don't know, it's a good thing. I mean, I think Luton have been helped by the fact that people like Garth Crooks and all the pundits at the start of the year basically handed the moral high ground to Luton Town on a plate. And Rob Edwards, articulate, highly intelligent, Renaissance man that he is, took it with both hands and said, right, lads, let's use it, because they all think you're going to lose every single game. And then, again, being a gentleman, as he proved at Wembley against Coventry, Rob took the Tom Lockie situation and used it, and he bolted Luton onto the moral high ground. And things like that, I think in life you get what you deserve sometimes because of that. That's why I'm very shaky about Forest. We haven't got the moral high ground because there's a points deduction coming. Unfortunately, Connor's in the same position. It's a kind of a no smoke without fire. But Luton, bomb-proof from that point of view. And I just think if you were like waiting till your manager's in a hospital, I mean, it probably wasn't again. I'm probably seeing the wrong thing. But, there's a time and a place. And out of respect for a man who kept them up last year, from when they looked dead and buried, the dear old fella came in and he kept them up. And I just didn't think it was very...
No, well said, Dave.
Do you know what, Dan, lads? If Forrest had done it, say say Steve had been in a hospital bed, Steve Cooper, and they were talking about Nuno while Steve was poorly, I'd have been appalled at
Yeah,
my
it's
own
not right,
form.
man. But the thing is, they should never have got rid of Vieira, in my opinion. And then when they got rid of Vieira, they then get Hodgson in. Then they treat him like crap as well. It's weird, man. They're just all over the place, Crystal Palace, in my opinion. But Connor, Everton weren't able to do the job against the said team. However, I think if you look at the points deduction stuff and you take away the fact that you imagine that you hadn't been dropped points, you'd be up in like, is it 12th or 13th that Everton would be now without the 10 points? So that's got to give you some confidence, man, surely.
Yeah, we'd be 12th. We'd knock Fulham down by a point. Yeah, I mean, it gives me confidence in the fact that we're clearly doing something well. I think the team have hit a real unfortunate patch at the minute where I think we're 8 without a win or something like that. I mean, we have had a tough run of games. We've played City. Palace was a bit of a break. Really could have done with beating Palace, but it was one of the worst games we'd looked like we'd played. It was on the manager as well. Ashley Young shouldn't have been playing at right midfield. Should have been subbed at half time and wasn't till. I mean, Deitch has this issue where he only subs people 67th onwards minutes into a game. So it's a bit tough. But I mean, the stats suggest we're a good defensive team. We create chances. The stats suggest we just don't have anyone to finish them. I think Calvert-Lewin's struggling. I think the setup is a bit of a struggle. Now we've got the Core back. Hopefully it changes again. But I think he finds himself isolated. He works hard. I'm not gonna rip into him because he won 17 aerial duels the other day against Palace out of 20. It was so really impressive. I just think we're struggling to get the rest of the squad up there with him. But like I said, it's really hard because no matter how much I look at it and go, oh, this is positive, this is good, we're doing the right things, it really isn't in our hands anymore. We're at the mercy of the Premier League. But it'll be really annoying because I highlighted before, the last 2 seasons, if we'd gone down, fully would have deserved it. We were rubbish. The football was dreadful. The decision making to have Rafa Benitez there when everyone knew the fans would never swallow that was awful. The football wasn't much better. To then go for Frank Lampard, who managed to give us a bit of a bounce to keep us up, but ultimately, I think he's gone on to prove as a manager lacks a lot of learning and needs to, hone his game. I'm not saying he'll never be a good manager, but he needs to go and learn a few things first. And we're a horrible job to get for you. Like his 3rd job in football management. That's a horrible job to get. But if we'd gone down those seasons, I'd have held my hands up and gone, yeah, you know what? We are crap. I'll call us crap when we were, and we have been rubbish. But this season, we've been good. We've got a manager that I like. I mean, he's bit like Marmite, it seems, with a lot of fans. But I like him. I think the football at times has been good considering the squad we've got. But yeah, it's just really tough, isn't it? The one season we look like we're kicking on and we're back down there.
Yeah, man. I don't have Everton going down just because of your manager, if I'm honest. Because he always gets away, don't he? He always gets Everton there. But we'll see, man. I've been wrong before. Trust me, I've been wrong many times. So we'll see what happens with Everton. Dave, Manchester City, I think are going to win the league. Manchester City, I think are going to win the Champions League. Can Luton prevent Man City from doing a treble 2 years in a row? Please.
Well,
yes.
You're going to have to watch that on the TV, aren't you? Listen, when they came to our place for the league game, I thought actually we were in it for it. Was, we weren't that far off it.
Yeah.
But, I think I said even like last night, class does show sometimes, and Haaland's back, isn't he? So it depends what they want to do. It depends if they want to rest some people. I don't know. It's, for me, it's a free hit, and if we get something out of it, even better. Can we beat Manchester City? Anyone can beat Manchester City on the day when you're playing well and they're playing poorly. Unfortunately for us, I don't think they're in that position right now. I think they've had a couple. The other night when they're playing Brentford, they took a while to score, but once they scored, they saw the game out, didn't they? So I'm just going to have a great day. I say this to you every time I come on. I'm having a bloody blast in this bleeding league at the moment.
Man.
I don't want not to be in it because I'm enjoying everything about it. football-wise. I'm enjoying going back to the stadiums. But when you come up across a team that would have spent more on one player than we spent on two
The whole
squads,
team. Yeah.
it's crazy. So we're up against it from the start. But we'll come out with the right attitude and we'll give it a go. And who knows? You know, you never know. You never know.
Is that your place, right?
It's at our place. That's the best thing about it, because it's where we are at Kenilworth Road. So, you know, they're not going to be frightened of Luton Town, are they? Let's be fair. So I'm hopeful that we get a good game, we get a good start. We don't concede like we did against Manchester United early. And if we do score, then we get another one. If we're going to score only one goal, like we did last night, then can we score it first? Because it means more meaningful to celebrate. But if we're only going to win 1-0, can we get it in the 98th minute so there's no extra time? So yeah, we can beat them on our day. The FA Cup, the magic of the FA Cup, if you want to say that, is sometimes there, and we've done it in the past. So it would be a massive result to win at Manchester City.
I love it.
It would be a massive result, but let's be realistic. The chances are we might be onto a big thumping if it goes, you know, a bit early up for us. So fingers crossed, hopeful. But
am I right in thinking you'd rather lose that game and win your next Premier League game, or
well, listen, March for us. If it was a case of you could guarantee me that we'd win our home games in the Premier League and lose the FA Cup, then I'll take that. We've got Villa, Palace, Bournemouth, Forest.
Wow.
In that order after Manchester City. Villa, Palace, Bournemouth, and Forest. We got March the 16th, and then we go to Spurs, where we'll get our 3 points there. Right, Dave, Dan. But overall, you know, I'd rather win 3 of the 4 of those, if I'm honest, because you know you can have. But then again,
massive March. It's a
brilliant March. But if the FA Cup, you know, I might not get this chance as a Premier League team to get to an FA Cup quarter final again. You know, so. No, I'd rather take the points, if I'm honest. I'd rather take the points.
Absolutely, you would, man. Of course. Like, listen, silverware's brilliant, but when you get Man City in a draw, you kind of must sit there and go, okay, well, cool. You know,
I don't want to bring Connor back into conversation, but I'm sure he would have been the same. But you know, we come up, we have a good result at Goodison, and then you're thinking, who's the worst team left in the draw? That's what I wanted, and it's your non-league club, isn't it? And you're thinking. And we're the last balls out, aren't we? And you're just thinking, well, that was all that effort we put in to go to Goodison, and we're basically going to get up. And it would have been, I don't know, you'd have probably felt the same, Connor, right? If you guys had beaten up.
Yeah, I mean, it's shades of in the League Cup we got beat, and then the next cup, the next ball drawn out was Liverpool. So I was like, well, that saves us the embarrassment there. And then when I saw this, I was like, well, even if we'd beaten Luton, you know, what's one more game? And like when you're at the bottom as well and your squads are a bit thinner, I mean, the Palace game, because we had to replay it, it was more of a hindrance, I thought, to us. The squads are thinner. You just want the points on the board. They're great cup competitions if you've got the squads for it, which is why I think we see bigger teams win them more now. If you've got the squad for it, you know, to give it a good go, fantastic, and you don't have to worry about the league. But when you're at the bottom, it's just a league or bust, isn't it, for the clubs down there?
Well, the squad is the right thing to say there because, you know, we've got quite a few injuries going on right now as well. So when we was firing on all cylinders and everyone was fit, it was great. But, you know, like Lukonga last night goes off with a pull. Alfie Doherty taken off because, you know, there's a problem. And you just think, do we really want the FA Cup? Well, as a fan, if you get to Wembley, you love it, right? You do love it.
Incredible.
But what's more important to Luton? I think not the if we get the FA Cup, great. Let's be realistic. Not going to happen. Because even if we get through this round, we'll probably get some other, top 6 team. Are there many left in it? I can't remember. See, that's because I'm always focused on the bottom of the league, you see.
Chelsea are in.
Liverpool, City, Chelsea,
United.
Right, so there you go. So we're not winning the FA Cup, are we? So let's concentrate on the league and
that's fair, man.
Hopefully get some more points. But you know, I'm going to enjoy the night, and I don't have to worry about football at the weekend, do I? Because we ain't got until Tuesday.
No, you can sit and chill, mate, at the weekend. You're all right. I'll leave you with this though, Dave, if it makes you feel any better. Luton have got more chance of winning domestic silverware than Arsenal. There you go. I'll say that. Because you're in it and we're out of both of them. So that might make it
just for now, yeah. And I'll just leave it. We have a 100% record against Arsenal at Wembley, and that's the only thing I can pick up.
You do, mate. You do. But you won't be playing us again at Wembley, that's for sure, mate.
Yeah. Well, if we do at some stage, it'll be fun.
It would be. I'm sure it will, man. I'm sure it will. Dave, Aston Villa, good time to play them?
Well, they're a good side. Let's put it like that. And, I watched them at Fulham last week, or the highlights, and they look really sharp. Ollie looked sharp. But I've been reading today, they've only won 2 of their last 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it just has this feeling, for me, it's very similar to when we went to Newcastle on Boxing Day. And we went there, and you kind of like, I personally didn't have much hope when we went to St James's Park on Boxing Day, and I've got about the same amount of hope going to Villa Park on Saturday. But with this Forest team at the moment, just, you go back to that front four again, Dan, and it was lovely that you picked them out and set me up rather than me sort of like doing it. So, they've been noticed elsewhere. And I think we can get a goal. I really do. I think we're able now to see 2 months down the line, while the results haven't been universally brilliant, there've been some good wins in there, but some defeats and whatever. I do think the football that we're playing now is better than that which we were playing under the previous regime. So I do think that's good. And I just think, Villa will be confident because they've just come out of Craven Cottage with a good win, and they played well at Craven Cottage. But, sometimes you get these games where, the form book gets thrown out the window. Everybody will have us to lose. I mean, I check a thing called Sportsmall. I'm not a betting person. I never have a bet in my life. And they had Villa to beat Forest 3-1. And I'm sure Chris Sutton will say the same, and lots of other prediction sites will have it. But there's just a little feeling that, and I'll probably be wrong, because the last time I said we'd win, I thought we beat Newcastle and we lost 3-2. Although I do think we should have had a point from that game, and I think we should have had a penalty, or maybe 2, And this one, I don't know. It's just I mean, our week coming up is if you like football, you can't get a better week as a Forest fan. Aston Villa at Villa Park, which I think is a fantastic ground. I love going to Villa Park. It's a wonderful ground. It's a proper, good old-fashioned English football stadium, right? And I think it's a great place to watch football. I love Villa Park. Then it's Manchester United in the Cup on Wednesday night. I think we're live on BBC One. And then it's Liverpool at home the following Saturday. So, it's like Dave says, he's absolutely spot on in what he says. I don't want to be out of this league. I mean, I saw some social media stuff last week where there were Forest fans saying, "Oh no, I'd rather be back in the Championship. You can get a ticket, and at least we might have a chance of winning."
What is all that about?
What did you spend 23 years of your lives hoping for? I mean, I spent years having to live with the fact that you were once famous and now you're like languishing in the mire of the Championship, going nowhere. I longed for it for 23 years, and I'm telling you now, I'm like a dog with a bone. I don't want to let go of it. So it's a great week to be a Forest, and we might not win any of these 3 matches. We're playing against 3 teams who are, all logic suggests, far better than us. But football and logic sometimes take diverging trajectories. They often go off in different directions, and there's just this perverse. I'll probably be wrong. We'll be back in here in a week or 2 weeks, and you'll go, Gaffer, Asprey, you said this, that, and the other, and I'll be completely wrong. But there's just, I don't see us beating Manchester United because I think they're getting their mojo back. Hoyland is a real touchstone for them. Although, like I say, I thought Luton should have got a draw against them. Luton deserved a draw, I thought. So maybe if Nuno's got his wits about him, I'd be saying to Nuno, can you get the lads to watch that Luton Manchester United game? Because that'll give you a shot against Manchester United next Wednesday. And then Liverpool, we go in with no expectation whatsoever. That's us, if you like, in the Luton Town position where, nothing's expected. You can go and relax and play your football. So you just don't know. I actually think the games that follow that week, so our next 2 games after that are Brighton on the Sunday and I think we'll beat Brighton because that would have been my mother's birthday and it's Mothering Sunday. My mother would have been 87 that day. So my little Greta up there, she'll be doing Brighton and Hove Albion in. And the following weekend, when I go, and I was talking to my brother about this the other day, and he was going, do look after the people who live in those houses either side of that entrance. And I said, I really don't know, but I'm going to knock and run at both, right? And then go into the Oak Road stand. I cannot wait. It's one of the great openings in world football to go through that, you know. I mean, Loftus Road was good a couple of years ago, but I can't wait to go between that, you know. I am Mrs. Whatever and I am Mrs. Whatever at the other end and wave to him to go in. Like, so, but the trouble is, there's a factor that Mr. Gregory and Gary Sweet and all those lovely people at Luton Town haven't factored in. And that weekend I shall be turning 60. So I think that Brighton and Luton are kind of from a moral point of view, they're up against it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's all safe standing there now, Dave, as well. So you'll be able to stand up if you've got the strength at your age.
Yeah, I've just started a personal trainer's course, Mr. Gregory, and I'm bulking my thighs up, mate, just for Kenilworth Road. So yeah, if you see a guy there with a fat backside and like bulging thighs who can barely get into his tight black goth jeans, that'll be me, mate. But no, I'm really looking.
Dave.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I did get a bit descriptive.
Has anyone eaten yet?
If they have done, they'll be bringing it back, mate.
They will be now.
No, I mean,
good couple of weeks in for you, mate. Good couple of weeks for you. Football, absolutely, man.
If, like I say, if you love the game like I do, and I love all football, whoever's playing it, right? I think it's great. I mean, you know, Aston Villa, Manchester United, Liverpool, Brighton and Hove Albion, Luton Town. That's a great run of fixtures. You know, if you don't love football, you've got to love that. You know what I mean?
100%, mate. Connor, Brighton. Have I got that right?
Yeah, Brighton.
I don't know what the hell you're going to get with Brighton. They can either get hammered by Luton or then go and smash 6 past Villa. I've got absolutely no idea what Brighton are going to go and do. It is such a hard game to bet on. So what's your thoughts on this one, bro?
I don't know. Last year we were. Yeah, I was going to say last year we put 5 past them. I'm going to assume they're a bit more turned on to it. I'm sure if De Zerbi's as good as we all rate him, he'll be a bit more turned on. But I think the key for us will be like, and I think it'll be figured out with Brighton eventually, is not to fall for their pressing trap. You know, they hold the ball, draw you out. And then they're so quick. Some of their players are so quick, not just passing, but the runs. You know, Matoma, he'll have most right backs in the Premier League crossing their legs. So I think we just got to lay off and hope to hit them on the break and start drawing them out. Because if we stay compact, they'll have to come to us. But we did that last year, and I'm almost certain he's not going to come in and, you know, fall for the same trap twice. But also we do have the luxury of set pieces. And I'm celebrating corners like they're free kicks on the edge of a box nowadays. It's incredible how good we can be from a corner.
Yeah.
So we only need one corner and then, you know, just shut up shop. I don't even care if the next 80 is the most anti-football Jose Mourinho football I've seen in my life. I'll take one shot on target goal from a corner and just see off the night.
Mate, take it, man. No, it's
Brilliant.
Win games of football. You don't care how you win games of football, do you? You just got to take the points where you can, man. So big up to you. Listen, good luck at the weekend, lads. Well, not for you, Dave. You get to sit and chill. But good luck for the midweek games, both of you as well. And that's when me and Connor can sit and chill. But yeah, it's going to be a big weekend. Every weekend, this is the back end of the season now, man. Every single point matters. So whether you're the top, bottom, or middle. So it really does, man. Big up to Dave for coming on. Big up to Dave Luton as well. Make sure you go follow When the Town podcast as well. And, of course, go follow Connor on Twitter, on the Twitter handle there as well. If you can do me a favour and smash a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get up to 20k next, which is the next target. So please make sure that you're part of the community. And it's going to redirect you over to Saeed. Do me a favour. Just go and spam Saeed's chat and say Dan Potts raid or Dan Potts sent me. Because that will be what happens next. So please make sure you go do that, because Saeed's got breaking news about Thomas Tuchel and Man United. Apparently he wants to go and be the next boss. That's what I'm hearing. So we're going to see you next time, people. Take it easy. We're out of here. Peace.